Hello and welcome to Oz Scalemodeling, and welcome to part 10 of our Revell London bus build. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you get notified when videos come out. Hit that thumbs up if you like the video, and if you've got any comments you can think of while we're watching, then your comments are welcome below. So let's get into where we're at. In the last video, we were doing the floor section of the bus between the lower and upper level, and we had a few fit issues. I'm still in the process of doing that, so throughout this part 10 we will go to that and have a look and see how that's progressing. And catch up on that. In the meantime, we've moved on to the next step in the instructions, which is 59. We're going to start on the floor of the upper level of the bus. So as with the bottom floor, there is photo etch for this. Quite a lot of photo etch, as you can see. We've got all that there. We've got wood, some other bits here. We've got these sections here. Basically all of this. But I discovered an unpleasant surprise when I took this off the sprue. I don't know how I didn't check or realize this or see this before, but this piece is completely warped and bent, as I will show you now. I'm pressing down on it. You can see how warped that is. Okay, pressing that flat. I mean, we're talking huge amounts. Look at it this way. So you can see the twist in it. Okay, it's not the camera. It actually looks worse than it does on the camera. Look at that. So if I get this part here straight, you can see how that warp completely twists at the end there. Okay, looking at it this way, if we can, there you go. You can see that bend. It's bent underneath that way. It's bent this way, and it's twisted down that end there. So this here is now straight. That other end should be straight, and it's not. And you can see the bow in the plastic. So my option is to do what I did with the bent side of the bus. Maybe send Revell another email and hopefully maybe get this piece replaced. But that's going to take 3 weeks to a month like the last piece took, and I don't have that long. So I'm going to try and yeah, I'm going to try and see if we can get this to work. The metal parts that are going to go on it, like the metal sheeting for the floor there, that will provide some bracing and support, but in reality, not much at all. So I'm just hoping that it's going to, when it's fitted down on the top of the bus, that there's going to be plenty of secure points to where it's going to get glued, which I haven't checked yet. All the attachment points will give it a good surface and we'll be able to glue it down flat. The problem is that with something that's always pressing against the way it should be, things can come loose in future. You know, the glue can detach and parts can suddenly come up. You can see how much that's raising up. It's almost an inch to get that straight from that. So that's sitting straight to that. Okay. Anyway, we shall press on. So first of all, I want to do is I'm going to clean up the bits of sprue off there, get this tidied up, and then we'll look at well, the other parts I've actually already taken them off, and they're just drying because I've just gone and washed them, including these side pieces, which one of those side pieces came off the same sprue this was on, and it's also bent. but that's not too much of a problem because there's a lot of secure points where it connects, and it's quite a thin piece, so it should that should be fine. But otherwise, yeah, I've washed those parts so they can be painted, and yeah. So I'm doing a lot of the same of what we did when we watched in the previous parts of building the floor of the ground floor of the bus. So I won't go into all the detail, but I'll show you each step as we go anyway. Okay, so all right, I'll get on with this and we'll come back with a bit more progress. Okay, back shortly. Hey, welcome back. So the roof of the lower level is on, it's all glued. I got it to fit as best I could. I'm still a bit concerned about the gap here, but let's have a look at it. I can show you a bit of a side angle. We've got the pole in there at the back. Everything's looking fine. Okay, there we go. Our stairs at the back. So I'm happy. I'm not confidently happy, but anyway. Now I'm not putting this piece on here. That's it here. I'm going to leave that off until the next level is floored is to go on, because part of that, I'll show you, that edge there is the edge of the floor, and I don't know if I may need to make adjustments here to get that fit on. So if I don't glue this on now, I can make adjustments later. It's just that this is not fitting as it should. I can line it up straight with that if I need to, but it's not straight here. So I could raise it up a little bit if needed. I can make adjustments. So I'm going to leave that off for the moment. All right, so that's all done. So we can put that aside for a while now and start working on this next level, which I've started. I've got some parts washed. There's our sides like we did on that last level. There they are there. Let me get this out of the way. I'll show you back in a sec. Okay, so there's the sides. There's the seat, which we need to do, and this part as well. This is all part of this part here. Now the actual floor itself, I'm trying to straighten that. I've got that under some heavy weights, and I'm going to leave it overnight, and hopefully it's going to come out a little bit more flatter. But until then, I can get these painted up, get the chair done with the decal and everything, and this piece as well, which goes up to the front, I think. Yeah. All right, and we'll get our photo etch all ready as well. Okay, continuing on. Be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So I'm going to start on some of the photo etch on this panel. I'll show you. The piece is here. Okay, so these are the two bits. We've got to remove this plastic off here. It's going to get replaced with these, which are this piece here and these. There's also a piece on the top here where you can just faintly see the plastic has to be removed as well. There's for these two little pieces here. They will go on the edges up there. And also I noticed that there's some raised detail, like rivets or part of the metal all the way along there. It doesn't tell you here to remove it, but there is photo etch number 106. 106 is these thin ones here. Okay, you can see that. Try and get the glare off. That one, and that one. They need to sit there, there, and there. And those, you can just see them there. They've got to come off, otherwise it's not going to sit flat. So the instructions don't tell you to, but they should. So I'm going to do that and get this photo etch on, and might even go as far as getting the pieces painted up. And then we'll move on to the next bit. Okay, that's where we're at. Just show you little updates as we go, just to show you if I come across things like the raised detail not being shown to take off. All right, I'll be back in again in a sec. Okay, so I just want to come back and show you I've taken all that raised molding off. I used my chisel, very easy, just went along, took that off carefully, particularly these spots along here where those rivets were, because there's some lines there, you can just see them, which aren't going to be replaced. So you need to make sure that you don't accidentally take those off. Okay, there's one there. But as you can see, it's come up fine. You don't have to do a fantastic, smooth, perfect job, because it's going to, obviously it's getting photo etch over the top of it. So there it is. So I'll attach the photo etch to it now, and we'll come back and have another quick look at it, because this one here needs to be bent over here. There's a, the angle it has to be at. So we'll see how we go doing that. I'll show you how I do that actually. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, back again. Let me show you what I've been doing. I've got the photo etch on the top there. So those two pieces are on, including the little piece under there. And what I've found is using these new product from Icky Sticky, disposable micro brush tips. Fantastic stuff they are. There's a link in the description to check out the website, but there they are there. And for using it on, in this case, I'm using the MIG Ammo canopy glue just for application. These brushes are fantastic. And then all you do is, because they clean off with water, you just keep a bit of water somewhere, just keep them rinsed so it doesn't dry, but no problem at all. Now this longer piece has actually had to be bent lengthwise, and that was a little bit tricky. Now, normally what I would do if it was just one solid piece is heat it up with a lighter and what they call anneal it, which would soften the metal, and that stops it springing back into shape, and it's much easier to bend. But the reason I didn't do it for this piece is because, see these little ends here? They're like mesh. You can see through there. So the detail shows like mesh you can look through. And from previous experience doing that, found that sometimes if you heat that up where there's some really fine bits of photo etch, it'll actually break and they'll come apart. So I didn't want to do that. So what I did was I put it down on here, and then I used a ruler, and then I used a razor blade, and I just went along and slowly worked it up a little bit, and then I'd test fit, and I'd find it needs a bit more bending, so I'd come back and bend it up a little bit further until eventually you get it fine like that. Now these clamps, I'm not gluing it, I'm just test fitting at the moment, and this is going to be fine. So what I'll do is I'll use the same glue and I'll glue it down. I'll position it. This MIG ammo dries slowly, so you've got plenty of time to slide it and maneuver it around. I'll put the big heavier clamps on either end, and then I'll clamp 1, 2, 3 of the smaller pegs, make sure it's all down, and then I'll let that dry for about an hour. Yeah, and then I'll come along and we'll do the pieces that go above that. But that's just one way of bending it and not risking annealing it, mainly because of the mesh that's in there. I didn't want that to all shrivel and break away like it has before. Maybe it won't. This is quite good thick photo etch, but I didn't want to take the chance. So just bending it gradually like that, and as you can see, it doesn't take much to get it into shape. All right. So yeah, these disposable micro brush thin tip. There's also a wide version as well, but for this particular application, I've used the thin ones. They're fantastic. There's the wider ones as well, but really good for little detail work. Okay. All right. Once again, I'll be back again shortly. Okay, back again. So what I've done was I had this with a weight to keep it flat, all right? A couple of books and so forth, keep it nice and flat for 24 hours, okay? Made no difference whatsoever. This is still as bent as it was before. So we're just going to go ahead with it anyway, okay? It doesn't take a lot of pressure to keep it straight, so I think once it's connected and glued down, we should be okay. But in the meantime, I've wiped it all down with isopropyl. I've got our first piece of metal for the floor off the photo etch. Again, I've wiped that down also with some isopropyl. And the underside, I've given that a bit of a sanding and just scratched it up a bit, so it's going to glue down to the surface a bit better. I've test fitted it, put it in there. Of course, it's not sitting flat because the whole thing is bowed, but it will when I use plenty of clamps. So I'll be gluing that down and then doing exactly the same with the other piece, which I've got here. And look at that. There's a good example of fingerprints. It's almost impossible. Like, I washed my hands just a few minutes ago. Okay, they've dried now. All right, let me just put my finger there, take it away, and there's a faint print there. You can't avoid it. So make sure you clean your parts and get your fingerprints off all the way through here as well. You can see there's prints on there, because that's got to be not only, I mean, it won't affect it gluing down on that side, but the paint, yeah, big problems. All right, so that one's going to go in there. That's actually the first time I put that down to test fit, and it looks fine. It looks good. Okay, so, but I'll glue one side down at a time because I've got clamps being used everywhere else at the moment. and then we'll come back and have another look. All right, I'll be back in a sec. All right, back again with another bit of an update. So that side's all on. This one's glued down. Just got a few little weights on there and clamps just to keep that down, which is almost pretty much set there. Just noticed a bit sticking up there, so I'll just clamp on there. That. These parts here are going along the side here, and those on the instructions, I'll show you here, are pretty much all these. Haven't done that side yet, but it's all this side here. They line up perfectly. They're the right length. There's no problem at all. When you get down to here, you'll find a piece that has no number to it, and you think, oh, what's that? But if you go forward a bit and you look here, I think it is this one here, that's the piece in there. All right, so they're just trying to trick us there, but we caught it, so it won't be a mistake. All right, I've bent that piece. There it is there, and I've test fitted it where it'll sit in there, and it's fine. There's also another piece to sit on the side there. That's that one over there, and that will be it for that section. Okay, so it's all going well. If these pieces, if you get them and they sit flat like these ones are, these are nice and flat, there's no need to even clamp them down. Just use, if you're using something like I am, this is the MIG ammo. I'll show you the bottle once again. There it is there. Okay. You can water this down. You can see how fluid I've got that now. Just so I can put it on lightly and it won't block any of the holes, and it'll make a nice coverage. It doesn't matter if it does block the holes really, because it dries completely clear, but it will have a better effect when you're painting because they're like indentations, and you know, it's going to look better. So yeah, just thin that out and put a nice thin layer underneath, and I haven't needed to clamp these, so they're all good. All right, so I will continue on. I will go feed my birds, which just showed up on the balcony for their morning cookie. And yeah, I'll come back with a bit more progress back shortly. Okay, back for another update. Everything on here is completed now, including that little bit there, which is, bring that across, that piece number 89 on there is the piece I've just glued on there, so I can cross that out now. All of these parts, all on the sides, they're all on, so we can cross that off as well, so that's great. And this, once I take those pegs off, is ready to paint. We can put some primer on that first. And then there's a few colours that need to be, in areas that will need to be masked up and so forth to get these, because we need the bust floor has to be done in the dark red. Then we've got aluminium on the sides. Now the floor here is wood, so like I did last time, I'm going to put some tape. I'm going to mask that up, and so that it doesn't get any undercoat or any paint on it, so that the wood floor will go straight down on the bare plastic. That worked out fine when I did the other levels, so we'll be right. Now I was going to put these on as well and glue them on and paint it, but then I figured, no, it's going to be easy because the tops of this need to be done aluminium. It'd be awkward if that's on the side, and plus everything below that can't be seen, including on the side of here, which means that's all a surface that can be glued. So we don't have to paint any of that. It's just from the top down is what we're painting. So that will get undercoated, and this will get undercoated as well. And then it'll just be that inside of it, which is this side, which will also be the dark interior red. All right, we don't need to paint the other side because that'll be covered. All right, fantastic. I will go, and I've got the seat here. Painted that, gosh, a couple of hours ago now. So I'll be able to put those decals on now and then clear coat it. So that'll get that done. There's a little bit up on the top here that I didn't put so much paint on because that has to be painted aluminium on there. And then there's a couple of decals to go on top of that. So I can do that now. And then that back piece, I've got that for the other photo etch on it. That's all undercoated, primed at the moment. And then I'll be able to do that also, the interior red. And there'll be some metal trim to be hand done with the pens on that as well. Okay, so far so good. It's all going well, and everything's going in place perfectly, no problems at all. And just a matter of keeping things in order as you put them in, and it's all pretty simple. All right, I'll come back with a bit more progress shortly. Hey, welcome back. I thought I'd just quickly show you the seats finished for the back section. A little bit on the top, which is like a grill thing. Must be like some of the aircon comes up through that. That seat's done. And this is the panel towards the front on the top level of the bus. Got the metal parts all done on there. Looks good. Now, this section along here, that is supposed to be done in silver, is it? Or aluminium, because all the surrounds around the top of the bus will be aluminium, which I'll show you here. Right, so all this along around here will be all done in aluminium. The rest will be done in the red, interior red. You can see I've got some masking tape on there where we're going to keep that plastic clear and clean, ready for the wood floor to go down. So this is ready to prime. The two side panels are ready to prime as well. I've got them ready to go. I'm just a little bit concerned about painting today because it's literally nearly 40 degrees Celsius today. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to paint today. I just don't want it. I just want it to go on really nicely, and I'm just concerned of being so hot that I might get, like, you know, when it comes out, it dries before it goes on the surface. So we'll wait and see. Otherwise, I'll move on to something else. But that, once all this done and is painted, that'll be the end of step 59. There, and I'll have to adjust my light. Oh, you can see that there. There we go. All right, so that'll be done. That's the sides. This will all be done. There's the seat, which is you saw, and that back panel is ready to go in there. All right, so it's just painting pretty much, and then over the page we've got to put seats in, which are all done. We've got all the seats done. It's just a matter of placing them in there, and then that whole piece gets lowered onto the top of the bus. Okay, excellent. I will progress on. Be back in a sec. Hey everybody, welcome back. So I've painted up these and clear coated them. These are the side panels for the interior. All right, that's one. There's the other one there. All right, happy with that. So that's all good. Now I've just painted the red on the base of the top floor, or the floor, and I'm going to let that dry overnight because I want that to be completely dry, because I need to do a bit of masking up for the areas where you look here. So the sides will go on afterwards, but these bits on the edge here have to be done in the aluminium color. So I need to mask the floor up a little bit to do that and put them on. Other than that, everything else is ready to go. As you saw here in the seats there's that back wall all ready to go in. So while I'm waiting for parts to dry, we do as we do, we move on. Now the next step will be putting all the seats in, which we can't do yet because we're waiting for that to dry. We can't do this part yet either, because we're waiting for that to dry. So we'll keep on going and we'll do this part. So step 62 is actually the bonnet or hood, depending where you're from. And what I decided earlier way back in the videos, looking at the photo etch, is that I've decided to make this a bit simpler. Okay, so let me just get the color a bit better so we can see. Okay, so that's a bit better. So what we're doing here is the bonnet. I'm not doing a lot of the photo etch that was part of the build, mainly because I'm not confident that I can do the hinges successfully, because they're quite complicated and delicate parts as we look here. Okay, so here it is. Here's the bonnet and the plastic we have to remove. There's the plastic parts on the back, which are part of the original hinge for it on the back firewall. But I'm going to leave those on, because if I take those off, then I have no choice but to build up these hinges. You can see them there and how detailed they are. And I just don't think that's going to work. Hey, I'm not confident. So I'm going to do what I'm comfortable doing. You've got all this photo etch. Most of it is optional. You don't have to do it. Good luck to anyone who does. But you can see them there. It's just that tiny little arm sitting in there on each side. And then this has to be glued not only to the bonnet where you've taken these pieces off, but there's a hole left where you take those off, and that hole has to be filled. And yeah, I just can't do that, so I'm not. So what I will be doing is, instead of putting all this in, because obviously that won't go on if these pieces are still on, I will be doing the lock mechanism on the front. So that part there, which is this bit here, K142, I will take off and add the photo etch for. And I think that includes this part. I'm not sure. These bits go on the side. I think it's this piece here. Okay, so we may be able to include that in it. There's these parts here. So all this section I think I can do. I won't be doing any of that or that. And then that's what it will look like finished without the piece in here. We'll just have the bits on the side and the bits on here. And there's also a little bit of photo etch to go on the side there. That's enough detail. I mean, in reality, if you choose to open the bonnet up, you'd need to have to get right down on your knees and twist your neck to look up to see this on the underside of the bonnet. Okay, because that's where it all is, underneath. So I don't think most of that's visible. All right, but that's the plan. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get the parts off the plastic that I need, and then we'll get the photo etch off that I need, and then we'll look at what needs to be put on and then painted. And so this part will not take so long to do. Okay, all right, sorry about that. If you want to go ahead, build that, my best of luck to you. I hope it works out, and I'd love if you do it. to join our Facebook Hangout group and throw some photos on there because I'd love to see it. All right, let's move on, and I'll make a start on this. And in the meantime, I'll bring out the floor, and once it's dried, and we'll mask that up, and we'll do the aluminium parts in that while we're doing this. And then we can go back once all that's done and finish these two steps as well. All right, okay, back in a second. Okay, back again. So I got quite a bit done on this bonnet. In fact, the bonnet hood is finished. Okay, so let's have a look here. Blue tack there holding it in place because I had to be very careful where I was placing these photo etch pieces there. So we've got the side panel on. That was quite simple. That went on. We've got the little latch on the side there with photo etch surround. So that's on. Just see that in there. And then the front locking mechanism, see the way that is all set up. Pretty simple, really. Just follow the directions and it'll all go together. Just be careful when you're placing it and CA gluing it in the spot. So that's nice little bit of detail. Certainly looks better than just plain not having it there, which is what the case is with the normal plastic. It doesn't have anything there at all. So that's the latch mechanism for when the bonnet goes down. That's it. So now all we need to do is paint that. So that having that done means that we can, and I have crossed off that. This, I can cross that off now. That's what it looks like. Just that part there. Of course, we didn't do that. And then this, all these sections here, we can skip. That's all part of the pivots for the raising and lowering the bonnet we're not doing. There's our end result with our little bit on the side where that latch is. So there we go. So I can mark all that off as complete, but we need to paint, of course. And this will be done in the London Bus Red, the underside as well. Those little bits that photo etch and the little parts on the side are actually going to be done in a metallic grey, is it? Let's have a quick look. They're going to be done in B metallic black. That's what I meant. Right. Metallic black on those. Yeah. So I'll go and undercoat, prime that, and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at how the floor's going upstairs. That should be dry now and ready for some masking and getting the aluminium part painted. All right, so we'll come back in a second. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I just started taking some masking tape off, where I've just sprayed the silver aluminium. Well, finished doing that. As you can see, I've done the red floor, deliberately left it looking a bit patchy, so we got like a bit of, you know, footprints and passengers have been through, so we don't want it looking too immaculate. So that's how I got the finish looking, and it looks nice. And as you can see, I've just done the aluminium on both sides. That's done. We've still got the center here masked up because that's where we've got to put down the wood floor, which will be the next thing I need to do on here. Also on the sides of here, I've finished these ones, so they're all done. The metallic areas on the top, so that one's done. There's the other one. That's also clear coated as well. And they're ready to go on. This will also need to be clear coated before I put that floor down, actually. In fact, now, once this is dried, I will put the clear coat on, peel that tape off for the center and put the floor down, the wood floor down. Okay, yeah, good bit of progress. Okay, we'll come back for a bit more. Back shortly. Okay, back again, bit more progress. Clear coated all of this and ready to put on the bench seat that sits in the back here, which will go pretty much just like that. Then we've got this wall here, which is going to sit, I've already test fitted it, but it sits in there pretty much perfectly. That's going to go on there. and then we've got our sides to put on. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that, and then we'll come back, because then I've just got to put the wood floor on, which is here, ready to go. So yeah, exciting stuff. In fact, I might do that now. Actually, I'll take this masking tape off, just so I know that's all going to be a little bit more room to work around. And yeah, we can do that right now. Actually, I'll take some of this tape off. Yeah, that just kept the plastic surface underneath all good. There we go. This bit here, so we got a nice surface for it to stick to. It's there. And perfect. All right. Excellent stuff. Starting to look good. All right. I shall be back when I'll cut this out. You watched in the last video when I did the lower floor. You just have to carefully go around this with your knife and take it all off. It's quite easy. Just follow the edge and then start at one end where it's going to be nice and straight, and then lay it down. Yeah, make sure it's all down firmly and put some weight on it for a while. So it's going to wait for a while, but yeah, wait on it for a while. Okay, all right, I'll be back and we'll see how it looks. Okay, we're back, and well, everything's all clamped up. There's a few little bits of concern I'm a little bit worried about over here, where the floor is warped quite a bit. So I'm hoping we'll be able to get it nice and secure on the upper level and get that to even out. So I'm going to let this all glue dry for a good couple of hours. I've also done, there's a little pole around here, like a that you hold on to. There it is there. I did that in the aluminium, so that should be ready to go. I've also I don't know if I showed you before I painted, but I've clear coated the bonnet now, and also underneath. Just need to do a little bit of detail under there. There's some of those areas there are metal black, make them stand out a bit for the latch and everything. But that's come up really nice. So that's done. So that's it for this video. I will the next video, which will be part 11, I think, right? Yeah, it will be part 11, will mean that we'll have all this finished. That's actually done, but this will be all finished. We'll put all the seats in the next video. Okay, so all those seats need to get all placed in there, and that'll be in the next part. Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to join our Facebook group where I can see your pictures of what you're doing, and we can share everything on that quite easily. Don't forget my live streams every week, and yeah, I'll continue on, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye for now. Cheers.